All right, I believe we are ready, and we're going to begin this news conference. I want to thank everyone for being here. Shortly before 5 a.m., there was an explosion at Brent Industries here on South Avenue. As a result of the explosion, two individuals have been confirmed to have lost their lives. We know they were both employees of Brent Industries, and a shift change was taking place at the time of the explosion. But there are two individuals confirmed deceased as a result of what happened. This is an event that has understandably attracted a lot of attention, not just from local media, but national media as well. We've been receiving inquiries from national media outlets from New York and Washington throughout the day. Obviously, the public is rightly concerned about what happened and what impacts there could be going forward. I can say that from the perspective of our Toledo Fire and Rescue Department, this is an event unlike most that they Chief Armstrong tells me that this incident attracted roughly more than three times the amount of personnel than would otherwise be called to a more standard event. Roughly 100 different personnel from Toledo Fire and Rescue Department have already been on scene addressing what happened today, and that is probably three times more than would be typical for any similar event. So this is obviously an unusual event. It is a tragic event, and it's one that we're taking very seriously and wanted to update the public on as soon as we possibly could. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to our Fire Chief, Allison Armstrong. We're then going to hear from, we have two individuals joining us from the U.S. EPA, and our incoming Toledo Police Chief, current Deputy Chief Kevin Braun is here. I don't know if he necessarily has any remarks, but certainly when we get to the point of questions and answers, if there are questions that could best be answered by the police department, I know he would do the best he can answering those questions. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Chief Armstrong.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Like the mayor said, we received 911 phone calls approximately 4:50 in the morning saying that there was an explosion and heavy fire in the building behind us. It's called Brent Industries. That prompted a very large response from the Fire and Rescue Department due to the size of the building, due to the chemicals involved, being a hazardous materials scene, and then due to reports that there were people trapped in the building. And so we responded. On scene, they found heavy fire. Part of the building had already collapsed. I am sure you've seen some of the videos that have been distributed. Very challenging conditions for both the employees to evacuate and the Fire and Rescue Department. So our priority was to get water on the fire and reduce the fire hazard and any explosion hazard from chemicals that were in cylinders or anything else like that on site. So that was our focus. We had some water supply issues early on, and we worked with the building management to identify anybody that was missing or couldn't be accounted for. That was a very lengthy process, and discovered that we were missing two employees, one adult male, one adult female. And so several hours later, we discovered the adult female, and then shortly thereafter, we found the adult male, both in the building, and both unfortunately had succumbed to their injuries. We have our arson investigators on scene now, working with TPD detectives and staff. We have the ATF has been asked to respond in the consultation initially for maybe cadaver dog support. However, they're not taking a lead in this investigation as of now. And our team's just working to investigate it, identify the cause. Obviously, as you can see, there's still fire behind us and some smoldering. It's a difficult scene to put the fire out because of the damage to the building, because of how the lot's situated, and being able to access the area that's still on fire. I mean, we still have a portion of the roof that's cantilevered on a wall, and so that's subject to failure, and we don't want to risk any firefighters going in a hazardous location. So we're trying to hit it from our master streams, from our ladder trucks, and do what we can to contain it. So our thoughts and prayers go out to the families and friends of the 2 people that perished in today's fire. A terrible tragedy for the community, and we're sorry for their loss. With that, I'll turn it over to U.S. EPA Representative John Gulch.
Hello, John Gulch, U.S. EPA Emergency Response. We received a report through the National Response Center about 9 a.m. this morning and immediately left our office in Ann Arbor to come and help support Toledo Fire with air monitoring. When we arrived, shortly after, the fire of the tanks was pretty much extinguished. So at that point, we were left with just the white smoke, and we've done air monitoring around and in the plume, and also working with the City of Toledo Environmental Services and Ohio EPA to determine if there's any runoff from the tanks off to the backside of the property into a ditch that would lead to Swan Creek. We have not seen anything in that ditch, and again, most of the air monitoring that came back early on was at non-detect, so not detecting any levels of hazardous constituents. So that's it. Thank you.
With that, we'll take any questions.
Chief, when the first crew arrived, were they able to enter the building at all, or did they have to pull back immediately?
No, that's a good question. So immediately they thought they were going to go defensive on this fire, which means we'll fight it from the outside. We'll position ourselves in the corners in a safe location. However, when we determined that there could be people still inside the building, they did enter the front office area that is still intact. That part of the building did not collapse, didn't appear to be directly involved in that explosion, and so they were able to enter that area and do a search. They also entered part of the warehouse area to do a search before they were evacuated by the incident commander, who felt that the risk was too great to them.
Chief, there were so many factors here that it's almost like a nightmare scenario, right? You have fire at a large building, you don't know what the chemicals are, people trapped. How did they respond? And these are things you have to train for, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said before, you're dealing with not only a fire, so we have a commercial building on fire, which is atypical. We have a structural collapse now where people might be trapped, and then you have a hazardous materials response. So you have 3 massive responses going on at one time, to your point. So, which thing comes first? Obviously, we want the safety of the community, safety to the employees and our fire and rescue department personnel. But yeah, then we have to work towards, mitigating all of these things at the same time. And that's why it took such a massive response from the fire and rescue department to be able to organize, coordinate, and do that. And that's why we contact environmental services, the EPA, our other external partners to try and tackle all these things.
Do you know where the surrounding businesses occupied? Were people working when you heard the explosions? Were they concerned to evacuate as well?
I don't know which businesses are in use right now, which ones aren't. I mean, from the time I've been here, and I've been here all day, I haven't seen a lot of traffic around the businesses, so I would assume some of them are not in operation right now, but I can't answer that.
I know you're still looking for the cause, Chief, but are you working on any kind of assumption that those mineral tanks had something to do with it, or is it there could be other things in there you just don't know?
Yeah, it's really too early to speak on that. Obviously, if you have flammable or explosive chemicals that you're working with, I mean, that's a hazard, and so we just don't know at this point.
All firefighters are still good, uninjured?
Yes,
correct?
no injuries to fire department personnel. Oh, we did have 2 or 3 other employees had minor injuries that were treated at the scene. I don't believe anybody was transported.
For the EPA, can you get your name and how to spell it, your title, and then also just give us what today's going to look like as far as monitoring and updating on what you're checking and when we can expect updates.
Okay. John Gulch, last name Gulch, U.S. EPA out of Ann Arbor, Michigan. For the rest of the day, it will be ensuring that the property is secure. That way nobody can make entry and potentially get hurt with any chemicals that are left behind. We'll be working with the owner to ensure that a company is hired that can do this type of work. There are still chemicals inside. There's still some tanks outside. Between Ohio EPA and US EPA, we'll ensure that that they submit a health and safety plan, a work plan, get this cleaned up, and then so that it wouldn't be a danger to the public anymore.
And John, you had said it was
exactly where you would expect them to be if nothing happened.
Right. We ran this by the Agency for Toxic Substance and Disease Registry, ATSDR. Once the black smoke goes out, they said basically treat it like the wildfires that we've had. If the smoke is there, try to avoid the smoke. It's been a pretty windy day, so again, if you're in your house and you look out and there was smoke, just wait till the smoke is dissipated and moved away. And we were advised to tell people to treat it exactly like that wildfire smoke.
No residents should be wearing masks, or can they work across the street, things like that?
Yeah, we did some plume modeling very early on, and it was just the area immediately surrounding the tanks, and that's where the fire department was. So they had their air monitor, their masks on. They were fine. That was the only area that would give us a problem with this specific chemical.
And Chief or Deputy Chief Braun, I don't know if you can talk about arson investigators coming in. Is that standard here, or is there something when you have explosions that you have to go down that route, or is something leading you to something that wasn't an accident?
Well, Toledo Fire and Rescue will conduct the investigation. They'll handle the investigation. Our detectives are on scene, ready and willing to assist in any way that we can. But I think whenever you have any sort of incident, a fire, something especially like this, you have to determine what happened here, right? You have to investigate it and make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's, so that when and if somebody was responsible for this tragedy, they can be held accountable. So we're here on scene, we're assisting Toledo Fire and Rescue with anything they need, and if Chief Armstrong wants to speak any more about the investigation, she can, but we're on scene assisting however we can.
Is there anything, Chief, to lead you to believe that could be suspicious, or just
no, I mean,
covering all bases?
obviously, like he said, we want to collect all the information, and we don't want to, issue judgment until we have that. This is a standard response. To answer your question, this is a standard response anytime we have a fire that results in loss of life. It is a joint effort. I have approximately, I think, 6 arson investigators, and they were all here. And then, like he said, we work in conjunction with Toledo Police detectives to process the scene and work the case.
What did you have to do with the water supply issue? Was it a water main that broke with the hydrant not?
Yeah,
putting out
so
water?
we believe that when the building exploded, it broke water mains inside of the building, and they were free flowing, and we weren't able to shut the water off right away. So as you can imagine, if you leave your faucets on and water's flowing and then we try to take a hydrant, we're going to have reduced water pressure. Once we got the water shut off to the building, our hydrant pressure improved. But typically, if we take 2 hydrants on the same main, we can't always supply, all the apparatus that we need to for a fire like this. So then we start looking on different mains to bring the water in.
How long do you think it could be till this is put? Do you have hours, days?
I mean, we are planning right now. We're recalling personnel to be here all night, but I really can't say. It could be a day, it could be longer, depending on how much product is back there and smoldering, and whether we can access it or not and remove it, because sometimes we have to, cut and remove pieces of the roofing because things will be smoldering underneath. And like I said, there's a very large piece of that roof that's cantilevered on its side and it's still intact. So it could be a difficult process to cut through that, remove it, and extinguish it. So I can't say.
Any identification yet on the 2 victims?
So any identification is going to be done through the Lucas County Coroner's Office.
John, Jon, Jon? Jon, yes.
Okay.
Good question.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.